What's going on, guys? Welcome back. So here is Season 2, Round 2 of the FIA Nations Championship. Just starting. As you can see, we didn't qualify very well. I think I was 14th or 15th, but loads of pace in hand. Just couldn't get a lap together with clean track. Perhaps for one lap I did get with clear track. I might have made a mistake or something like that. So terrible qualifying, really, but that's all right. I mean, the last few FIA races I've done will stick in my mind. I qualified quite well. I'm thinking of a Group 3 at Interlagos, was it? And Group 3 at Suzuka. Both of those races, I think I qualified 3rd or 4th, maybe, somewhere around there. And I ended up finishing those races right at the back of the grid. Just getting penalties really early on in the race. So, although I was disappointed with my pace in qualifying, I wasn't too concerned about the race because it meant that, well, I can just drive the race at my pace. I don't have to try and attack every little gap and do qualifying laps straight away, which everyone seems to do, even in the FIA races, which I find a bit surprising. So here we go, 15th, pretty poor. What's the lap? 20, it's a 26, yeah, Jesus. Should be in the 124s, really. But anyway, on to the start of the race. So Group 2 at Interlagos, of course. 16 laps, we're in the NSX. I don't really like the other two group cars, although I've not driven them too much. I've mainly just stuck with this NSX. So lots of grouping at the start of the race. So then, you know, just chill out. Just chill out. Just let the race come to you. Just take a couple of laps, take half a lap. Just sort of see what everyone's pace is. You don't need to attack every braking point straight away. But there you go, one position already. This guy's loads of penalties up ahead. Look, try and pick our way through here. And I'm just driving really slowly here. Because there's no point forcing the issue. There's a whole group of cars in front. Most have got penalties, so they're all going to start battling, so I can just pick my way through when they're battling. 12th now, by the way, somehow. .11th. Right, so we defended, so we're going to the outside. That's cool. Get a nice early break because I know he's on the inside. See if he runs it too deep, but he doesn't. There's loads of traffic anyway, so now we're looking to 10th on lap 2. And as always, I'm just trying to not get a penalty. I'm not trying to overtake as many cars as I can. I'm not trying to finish the race as quickly as possible. I'm just trying to do a race and pick up the least amount of penalties possible. That's all I ever try to do. Really, I'm not too bothered about. Well, it depends. In the lobbies, I'll go for more gaps. And when you see me in a kart race, I go for absolutely everything. So I think it is the penalties that make me drive cautiously. But also, it's just strategy. It's a long race. There's no point being going flat out straight away. You need to let the race come to you a little bit. So things have sort of settled down a bit now, haven't they? Not much is going on. Seem to have sort of settled in 10th. You do need to fuel save a little bit in this race. I don't think it's possible to go flat out for the full stint. And there's no 7th gear in the NSX, so I can't fuel save really down the straight, but certainly when we're getting in the slipstream like here, I should be thinking about it, and maybe even in Sector 2 I should be changing the fuel map a bit, because certainly in the NSX, but I think generally most cars in that sector, you're you're not really full throttle. You're, if anything, you're gingerly trying to get on the throttle. So when that's the case, there's no point running full power on your fuel map. You might as well be running 2 or 3. So I think you'll see me do that in a lap or so's time. But I want the radar up at the moment. So around the outside of this guy, but he's been holding us up for a couple of laps. Had to just go for the move and make it stick. And I had to decide which championship entry I wanted to do tonight, so I didn't have time to do both the nations and the manufacturers. I kind of wanted to do both, but the manufacturers was a Group 3 race at Bathurst, and in the 458, as much as I do like driving the 458 on Bathurst, believe it or not, I just sensed with the tyre wear that was going to be a hard race. And I don't mind hard races, I often will take a hard race, but it was after this race, so I was already a bit sort of fatigued, a bit hot and whatever. Anyway, I signed up for it, I registered for it. I think it was the 9 o'clock one that I just managed. I thought I might just be able to squeeze it in, and I sort of did a few laps in quali. I couldn't really get up to pace. My optimal was only a 2:02.5, but I couldn't get anywhere near it. I was doing like struggling to get 2:04s, you know, whereas I should be low 2:03s easy. So I felt like I wasn't up to pace. I was making little mistakes. I was feeling a bit tired. I was feeling a bit hot. I needed to eat something. So I was like, if I do this race, it could go absolutely horribly. Because the 458, as I say, it's a struggle getting it around Mount Panorama as it is. But as soon as tyre wear is a factor, it's probably going to be difficult. So I was thinking I could do that race similar to this, and probably just, you know, try and just sort of have a chilled out race, drive around the back, just pick up positions. But I don't know, I just got a feeling it was going to be a stressy race, and I just couldn't deal with a stressy race. So I skipped it. I'm sorry about that, guys. I didn't really want to skip any rounds of any of these championships, but I mean, I think Season 2 is longer than Season 1, isn't it? I can't remember off the top of my head, and I should check this stuff before I start a video. But what happens is I'll do a video, and then I don't know what I'm going to talk about, and then suddenly I start talking about something, and I realise, oh damn it, I should have really looked that up. I'm going to say it's 7 rounds. I don't know where I've plucked that number from, but for some reason I'm thinking it's 7 rounds. I can't remember how many dropped rounds there are, but I'm saying there's probably going to be at least 2 dropped rounds like there were in round 1. So it shouldn't matter too much. I mean, it's just a shame, because like I said, I would have liked to do the race, but it's just a bit too tired and too hot and running out of time at the end of the day. So I figured, you know, cut my losses, stick with the one race. And I nearly didn't enter either of them, to be honest, because I just, like I said, I was so stretched for time. But I thought, no, I need to give it a go. So that's probably a little bit why my qualifying was so poor for this race. I think usually you're best before you enter a race, hammering the practice session for at least 5 to 10 laps. Make sure that you're either setting your best lap or getting very close to your best lap just before you enter the race. That's obviously, I mean, I say obviously, it seems obvious, but I think a lot of people don't. But that's always how I aim to enter an FIA race. Unfortunately, this one didn't quite work out like that. I had a few bits and bobs to do, so I had to nip out and then nip back in and quickly enter the race. So I only had maybe 10 minutes or so to warm up for this, and I think that's probably why my qualifying was so off. I mean, I still could have got a better lap. I know where the time was. I made some mistakes in quali. But like I say, probably just not warmed up, probably a bit hot, probably feeling a bit sort of stressed and stuff, so need a cool, clear head to race, I'd say. And yeah, so like I say, that's why I just decided not to do the manufacturer, so I'm sorry about that, but I think it might have been a good decision. Who knows. We send it up the inside of this guy, so classic cutback, make him defend the inside, we'll approach the corner from the outside, he'll run in too deep and we'll take the apex. Pretty standard stuff, but quite effective. And I think it looks so effective because we're in an MR car and they're in a front-engined car, so they're always going to be struggling on that sort of corner just to get turned in. Whereas with the MR, the stability and where the weight is in the chassis, it's a bit easier for us. Hold on, let me get my cat in. Right, we're back. So what is this? End of lap 6? Nearing the end of the first stint. If you look at the fuel, you can see what I mean about you don't have enough fuel to not fuel save. You will need to sort of... I mean, you can do the first stint obviously flat out, but you'll be close to an empty tank, which is going to mean you're going to have a long time in the pits. So yeah, fuel saving is a factor, and I think the Lexus and the GTR will be harsher on their tyres than the NSX, which is unusual for this game. Usually the MR cars are pretty severe on their tyres, but not in Group 2, which is good because the NSX would be a nightmare. It's quite slippy as it is without tyre wear, especially in second gear when the turbo spools up. Lovely corner this one. And then this is the sector where the NSX, well, I don't know if it's the car or it's just me in the car, but I really struggle through this sector. Just because you're just trying to squeeze on the throttle, and yeah, as you all know, in Gran Turismo, when you're at 50% throttle and you want to go from 50% to say 75 or 100, it's so hard to modulate that latter 50% of throttle. The first 50% feels like it's 75% of the pedal, and then the next 50% feels like it's about 2% of pedal travel. It's so hard. It's obviously for if you imagine a control pad right trigger, it's so that you can get easier throttle control on the control pad. And yeah, I still just haven't got used to that really with the pedal, but maybe we'll get there. I scared myself there with that cone. I just, for a split second, thought it had got stuck under the bumper and I was going to go flying. It did affect the car a little bit, but luckily I didn't go flying, so it's not there, just checking. So we're in 6th at the moment, which is pretty good considering where we started. But I think that just goes to show how poor my qualifying was really, more than anything else. So tentative there. You can do this full throttle, but with the tyre wear and stuff, could be a bit sketchy. Nearly lost it there. Just, again, full throttle in third's usually okay, but I think just because I just got a wheel on the curb, it just span up the outside rear wheel a little bit, which was just enough to pitch the car left quite sharply, so a bit of a scare, but we're alright. Fuel, everyone's pretty much around the same place. I'm not sure if you noticed, but yeah. I mean, I fueled a bit more, but on the way in we were all pretty much on the same usage. So where are we? Coming out in 10th, but just give it a second because Interlagos pit lane's quite long. Alright, so it was 10th, 11th, and now it's 7th. I don't really understand how that works, but it's just the pit system in this game. So easy into here. We're on a full tank of fuel, remember. Very easy to go wide, I think, after a pit stop at that corner. Still penalty free, but it looks to be catching these cars in front, although maybe they haven't pitted yet. That would be nice. We don't have to worry about trying to get past them on track. You might think I'm very cautious with my braking points a lot of the time, and I am, But the reason I am is because you take a lot out of your tyres if you slam on your brakes really hard and lock up a little bit into a corner. You take a lot out of your tyres that way. The same as if you're hard on the throttle when you come out of a corner and you spin up your wheels a little bit. Obviously you'll take more out of your tread. Most people realise that, but I think a lot of people don't realise. But the same is true if you come into a corner too hot and slam on your brakes, slam on your brakes as hard as you can. The same thing will happen. You'll just take too much life out of your tyres. Much better if you can just sort of try and feel where the limit of the tyre is and just hold it there rather than take it beyond. Now look ahead. This German in front of us, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but one, because it's German, but two, I can't really see when I'm commentating, but I know from memory it's something like Harbstark or something like that. I've raced this guy a lot, he's pretty quick. So it looks like he's getting held up by the Spanish driver in front. So keep an eye on that. And also keep an eye on the gap that the German pulls as soon as he gets past the Spaniard. And then, remember the Spaniard's name and keep an eye on him later in the race. Because I think he does the exact same thing to me. I find myself saying this quite a lot. There's nothing wrong with defending your position, of course. But I think when that starts to cross the line towards blocking, then it's not really on. So I've switched to fuel map 2 here. It's because I've not been doing as much fuel saving in the second stint as I was in the first stint. And also because I know I'm catching these guys. So if I'm going to catch them, there's no point using more fuel to catch them. I might as well use a bit less fuel and still catch them. So that's my thinking. I don't think the German had a penalty either until we tried to get past the Spaniard. Switch back to fuel map 1 before you power up the hill, of course. Big moment from the Spaniard there. I thought he might think about letting me go, but no. It looks like he's indicating, look. So I wasn't sure. I was like, is he going to pull over and serve his penalty? A little bit confusing, and that really screws me over at the end of the race as well. You'll see. Don't know if it's deliberate or it's probably just a mistake, or he's pressed it earlier in the race and forgot to turn it off. I've really no idea. But the German's through. It's a shame I couldn't get through at the same time. But remember, I don't want a penalty. Way better on the brakes into there. He's probably taking too much out of his tyres, I'd say. Look at the undercuts. Not really. I did that at the end of the first stint, didn't I? The exact same thing. Just top end of third on that curb, just spins the outside wheel. So that's disappointing. I could have maybe got past it there, and look, I got a penalty for it as well. So he's served his penalty now. So now he can block me until his heart's content, can't he? Look at the gap that the Germans pulled out. Really getting held up here. Well, until I made that mistake, now it doesn't really matter. But if I hadn't made that mistake, I'd have been a bit more impatient to get past. Well, I'm still pretty impatient to get past, to be honest. just feels like every lap I'm really catching him here. And I can't tell if he's trying to brake check me or not. I think he's just poor on the brakes, but... Let's be a bit careful there. Anyway, we're through. He tried to close me down, but I think he realised it wasn't really... Can't force another driver off the track, and he'd already left the door. Well, I don't know if he left the door open or I prized it open, but we were far enough alongside there where he couldn't close us down really. It looks like he's. I was going to say it looks like he's picked up another penalty, but let me just see if we look behind again. Because it was quick, I couldn't quite tell. So into 6th. Yeah, he has. So the 2 cars behind both have penalties, but I've got a penalty too. So I'm going to look at the inside, but he's not close enough, and we've seen how poor he is on the brakes. So I've got a penalty, and the 2 cars behind have a penalty, so what I should do now is just drive to the finish line. But for some reason, I thought, well, it would be better to serve this penalty. They've both got penalties anyway, so even if I serve it and they get past me, they're not going to beat me because they've got penalties. But what I didn't consider was that if I serve my penalty and they both get past me with penalties, they're not, well, I never expect people to not drive fair, so I wasn't expecting to serve a penalty, get the 2 cars and overtake me with their penalties, and then them spend the whole rest of the last lap trying to block me and give me a penalty. I just never expect people to do that, so I don't factor that into my strategising, whereas perhaps I should. Because I could have easily got 6th here, couldn't I? Just take the penalty at the end, that's all I've got to do. Just drive to the end with this penalty. Don't know why I didn't. But again, it might just be a sign that I was getting a bit hot and tired maybe. I mean, let's see. So, the gap's pretty good. I've just been thinking that it's not a concern. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't want to... I'd rather finish the race with penalty free, I suppose, because it increments slightly, doesn't it, when you cross the line. So say it's 6/10, when you cross the line it'll be 1 second or something. So I think I was probably thinking I'd rather cross the line without the penalty. And I think I was just so confident that because they've got penalties, they're not going to be able to beat me. I can just follow them behind and it doesn't matter. But like I say, in hindsight, I didn't realise how difficult just following 2 cars with penalties was going to be. We'll see soon enough. Do I serve it here? Yeah, and then get a good drive up the hill. So looking alright, but I'm going to get slipstream up the hill. This guy is a little guy behind Marks. I'm going to defend. Alright, so this guy's got past me, but I'm not bothered. He's got a penalty and I haven't, so it doesn't matter. Well, you can both have it, it doesn't matter. Just cruise around behind you guys for the last lap. Should be an easy 6th, right? They're both picking up more penalties, hitting each other, so I'm thinking this is great. Keep an eye on his right indicator. You see it come on there, so I think, oh, is he pulling over to serve that penalty? And I sort of committed to the inside thinking he was. And then we get a 5-second penalty for that. Oh dear, what a horrible way to end the race. Just so clumsy. But it's all because of that indicator, so I really thought he was pulling over to serve his penalty. and then he pulls over to serve it anyway at the end, and then, oh, what a mess, what a disaster. And like I say, all I had to do was follow those two cars. That's all I had to do, and we would have got 6th easy, and in the end, 9th. But there we go, that's racing, I suppose. So there you go, guys, that was my round 2 of the Nations. I hope you guys are having good races. Let me know how you're getting on, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye.